Hello, everybody, and welcome to El Poder en Vivo. It is the beginning of a new podcast series that we are having here in the studios live on El Poder Latino. And to kick it off, I am joined by a couple of friends of mine, new friends of mine who are here. One is Karina Hernandez. She is a mortgage loan specialist. And the other is Ninushka Wade Sotomayor, who is a bilingual relationship banker. Hello, you guys, and thank you for joining me. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Good. You guys look perfectly matched today. Did you guys go through this earlier in the afternoon and say, hey, I'm wearing orange, wear orange, or at Starbucks celebrating Orange Day today? I don't know.
We're welcoming October.
Yes. The fall festivities are here, and you guys are all in. I'm glad you guys are here. We are going to start with Karina Hernandez, who, once again, is the mortgage loan specialist. I'd like to ask you to tell us a little bit about what you do and the role that you play, where you work at, and then we'll move on to Ninoshka.
Nina.
Yeah.
Yes, so I am a mortgage loan officer specialist. What that means is in my role, I am certified to do renovation loans. So for those customers that are in need of a purchase transaction where they need to finance the renovation work because the house perhaps maybe doesn't pass inspection, or for those homeowners that don't have the funds but they have to finance repairs, health and safety, a wish list, maybe they want a new kitchen, a new bathroom. You can finance as little as $2,000. So that is really my role here locally in Rochester. Also, I am the specialist for what we call CRA. So that's a Community Reinvestment Act. So anyone with a grant, anybody with affordable housing, I am your girl.
Nice. Ninushka? Is it Ninoshka?
Ninoshka.
This is a new name to me. Beautiful. Do people call you Nino, or what do they call you at work? Nina.
Nina.
Nina que linda. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us here. What is it that you do?
So I'm a bilingual relationship banker. So really all that means is that if you have any kind of banking need, aside from a transaction, just like at the teller line, I would be the person to help you. So if you had any needs for lending or maybe basic account needs or credit building, anything like that, I can help you with.
Right. Especialmente si no hablas inglés. Right? Si
Exactamente.
dicen, este tipo no me entiende, búscame a alguien que hable español. Here's when they come with Nina.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. And again, thank you
Likewise.
guys for joining us here on the show. We'll start off with banking and why is it so important?
Why is it important to know about banking and financial institutions? First of all, you have to know how do you live, meaning what is your source of income and what is your purpose in life. So do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want affordable lending? How do you pay your bills? And why do you pay your bills that way? How does that help if you're a renter? So knowing how to work your finances and knowing how to and where to go with different financial institutions and the why it's important to know. And I think when our youth is in high school, we don't, as parents and as a community, we don't do the best job with that information. We're sort of worried about other things. We don't particularly spend too much time talking about the basics of, okay, now you're 18, it should be way before that.
Yeah. What age would you say would be more appropriate to get started?
That is an excellent question.
Yeah.
I think that as soon as you're able to start making money for yourself, you should have a bank account.
Nice. Okay. 16, 15, 16, right? Most people can start working
puedes a
about
los
15,
15,
16, ¿verdad?
16, lo que
Yeah.
sea, yeah.
Or if your parents give you
I mean, some
allowance.
people work, under the table for their own parents or for their own family members.
Sí,
So,
verdad.
your parent can open an account for you at 13, si quiere,
So as soon as we have some kind of cash flow, it's probably a good idea to get into a
Absolutely.
bank. Yeah. Now, differences in banks. There's credit unions and there's other banks. Could you just tell us a quick overview of what is the difference between the two?
Mostly regulations.
Okay.
Primarily, banks are regulated by the federal government. Credit unions have a little bit of leniency when it comes to that. That means sometimes their guidelines or what they're allowed to do is a little bit different. Also, that's on the positive side. On the negative, it could be that they don't offer as much as a bank could offer, like a full service lender.
So financial credit unions is a little bit different, and especially when it comes to loaning someone money. Is that what we're saying?
It could be where they're more flexible, but again, part of introducing yourself to finance is
Yeah.
identifying where do I fit.
Sure.
Do I fit with a credit union, or do I fit with a traditional banking
Yeah,
institution?
yeah. Is it easier for one to get a loan when they're already a part of the bank as a member compared to a non-member?
Could be.
Right.
It could be depending on their relationship. Sometimes, we have the privilege of working with local underwriters where we can have conversations with them. Yeah, if there's a relationship where they've been banking for maybe 20 years and in their family, yes, there is a history to tell. So
Sure.
I would say yes, it
Right.
does help if you have a long-standing relationship with your financial institution.
Yeah. And is it easier for someone to get a loan through their bank as opposed to, let's say I wanted to purchase a car and I let the dealer go and try to get a loan for me? How would that work out? I would say, and this is just my thought, that probably the car dealer is going to look for something where he's going to make more money out of it as opposed to a bank, especially one that you belong to, who may now be in the interest of you, said purchaser, to make sure that they get the best deal that they can get.
It does make a bit of a difference, because if you sign a certain contract with the dealership, we cannot go over that. You agreed to those guidelines with that dealership.
Okay.
Right, there's packages also associated with that. When you are dealing directly with your lender, the lender is doing the underwriting. When you are dealing with un concesionario de auto, por ejemplo,
Sí.
they have packages that and lenders that they already work with, that it makes it a little different. It doesn't mean that the rate is going to be better. So those are conversations to be had with oneself. What does it look like? Do I want to get a car? Do I want to go to my bank first to see what that looks like with traditional lending?
I think that would be a great
Or-
idea.
right,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. I think that would be a great idea to
Yeah.
explore your options to make sure that you do get the
Absolutely.
best deal that you can get, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to buying a home, how does that work? Is it easier to get the home through the bank that you are already a member of? Or again, is it easier for you to join, maybe see a realtor and make the purchase through them?
Well, realtors really are sales individuals.
Okay.
A realtor is a person who is a real estate professional who is going to give you information about the market and about the actual dwelling. When it comes to the lending part, what as a consumer,
Yeah.
lo primero que tienes que hacer es explorar el mercado, to figure
Sure.
out what the institution offers and why.
Right.
If you've heard about a specific loan program, do you offer that loan program, and would I qualify for that program?
Yeah.
So first things first is arm yourself with knowledge.
Okay.
I think our community is very quick to just say, hey, here's my social, pull my credit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No. Do not do that
No.
anywhere you go, because that means that you know very little about your borrowing power.
Gotcha.
Everyone should have a little bit of knowledge,
Yeah.
very basic knowledge about their earning power and their borrowing power.
Okay. And how important is credit?
Sí que.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is, but I want you to explain to our audience how important it is to have credit, and not just have credit, but have good credit.
Yeah, I mean, it's important because if you want to, most people don't have the access to cash to be able to purchase things
Right,
outright. So, especially for someone that's just learning banking, like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
So, without credit, you won't have access to any of those things.
Right.
You're going to get, turn downs, you're going
Right.
to get denials, you're going to get, every time you get denied, your score goes down even more, right? Because they're running your score every
So
time.
that's not a myth. That's true.
Oh,
That's true.
absolutely.
Okay. Sorry to
That is
interrupt
very
you.
true.
I needed to know. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Every time somebody looks at your credit,
Yeah.
it's gonna go down,
Wow.
and so you have to really know that that's something that you want to do. If you go to somebody and they're gonna run your credit, ask them what is the credit that you guys normally look for this kind of
Criteria.
loan, right? Because if I don't know and I'm just shooting the application,
Right.
I'm gonna find out that not only I never met the qualifications for this loan, but I also took a hit on my credit.
Ouch. Yes, yes.
So that is not ever a position we want to put a customer in.
Yeah.
The idea is to educate you as much as possible so that you can make smart lending decisions, smart financial decisions,
Yeah,
period.
Sure, sure.
Right.
Okay.
Another thing to know about credit is people just focus on, I build credit when I borrow something and then I pay it back.
Right.
Those are essentially terms and conditions. cojo prestado de aquí y lo presto a tiempo. Soy mala paga, o lo pago a tiempo. But one thing that people really, especially in our community, and really communities that perhaps struggle with budgeting and credit, cosas como el RG&E.
Yes.
Please, if I can ask any takeaway today,
Right.
do not put any type of any type of housing or really any bill should be in the name of children.
Right.
You're setting them up for failure.
Yeah.
Even if they find a bank that they want to work with, if they have a summer job y tienen su chequecito y le están pagando, that is very detrimental to as soon as they turn 18 and try to build credit because they don't know what happened. They are very confused as to why this happened to my credit and why do I need, it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So again, knowing how a bank can help you is very, very helpful.
Yeah. And what would you say would be the best way, the number one way to protect your credit?
To protect your credit.
Yes.
If you're not using your credit,
If you're not using it?
if you're not using it, it should be locked.
Absolutely. Freeze it.
Freeze that
and how
credit
does that
report.
work?
You reach out to the credit bureaus.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, the three major agencies, you can reach out to them, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You can reach out to all of them
Right.
individually.
Right.
The Federal Trade Commission, you can log into the website. Very helpful.
yeah.
If there is no use for you to have credit at that moment, it should not be opened.
It's like a debit card. You
Right.
lock it if you're not using
Yeah.
it.
You don't
Yeah.
leave it in the counter, so you at work you don't leave it in your counter so somebody else can have lunch.
Right.
So one thing I will say that if you are looking to get your credit pulled and shop around for rates, please unlock the credit report with all the agencies because then that could delay the process
Yeah.
if it remains locked. But if you are unsure, even if you have credit report, if you're unsure about where your credit stand, make sure that your bills are paid on time. That includes your cell phone when you buy a new phone. That includes your utility bills and your landlord. Please pay your landlord on time.
Right. Yes. Yeah. For your credit and for him. No, but jokes aside, I asked you this question because I've heard, people say somebody else used my credit, whether it was their mom, their abuela, su titi, somebody used their credit and now they're in bad shape when it comes to their score. And if they wanted to get a loan, purchase a car or a home, now they have to go through a lot more than they would have if they would have protected
Right.
their credit.
Right.
Yeah.
And they resort to TikTok.
Yeah.
They resort to social media.
Yeah.
They resort
Not a
to
good idea?
My friend at the
No.
bar.
No, not a good idea.
You go to your bank.
Yeah.
However, if you're utilizing a money app,
Yeah.
they're not regulated by the IRS. They're not regulated like banks are regulated. You can't call on the phone and say, "Hey, I got fraud. Can I get my money back?"
Yeah. And you had mentioned fraud. I mean, there's scams that are happening every day. I mean, it is a multi-million-dollar business, and
Yes.
people really need to protect themselves and be aware. I don't know if that's something you want to get into, but it happens all the time, more than you
Every day.
would think. Yeah, every day somebody's getting scammed. And a lot of the times it's a scam where, I don't know, somebody may call you and say, hey, this is the bank from so-and-so, and I'm the banker, and we need to
Very
take
good.
care of
Oh, yeah.
something.
It
And they
happens every
take people
day.
for a fool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have any, I don't know, suggestions on how we could avoid being scammed like that?
I think the biggest one that we see is people using their debit cards at like the gas station pumps.
Yes.
Cards get compromised
Yes.
every single day. Definitely, if you can go inside, and I know we all, our time, we don't have time for this, that, and the third,
Right.
but
This is important.
oh, absolutely.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even if it looks safe, you really just truly don't know. It's best that you use the card near where there's always someone there, a clerk, because the chances of that debit card reader having a skimmer on it are much
Right.
less.
Yes. Gotcha.
So with a gas pump, that
never know.
yeah,
Right,
anybody
right.
can walk up to it anytime, do it 1, 2, 3, and walk
Wow.
away, and then everybody that's using their card there, their information is getting picked up.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be the gas station themselves doing the scam. Someone
Oh,
like me
no.
can just
Right.
come up
Yeah,
to a
right,
gas
yeah.
station and put some kind of skimmer on there and take advantage of people and ruin their credit,
Yes.
steal their money.
I mean,
Yes.
usually it's done.
It's
for-
horrible. I've heard horrible
within an hour.
stories. Yes.
Yeah.
They just put it in for an hour. You have any idea how
Right.
many swipes you're
Right.
gonna get in an
Yeah,
hour?
yeah.
So it's never a thought. Okay, I'm at risk. This skimming device is
Yes,
there the whole
yes.
day. It could just be half an hour.
Yeah. And then, like you said, you just don't know. And then you call the bank, and your money's gone. You're
And
not
that's why
getting it
also-
back. You said it yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm taking your word for it. You're not calling the bank saying, "Hey, this happened, and I need my
Right.
money back." It's gone. It's gone.
Right.
Wow.
And that's why your credit is also important, right?
Yeah.
Because it's actually advised that you use your credit card versus your debit card, because if your card is compromised, it's the credit card that's compromised. It's the bank's money that's
Yeah.
compromised. It's not your bank account that's compromised. All your funds are not going to be at risk of being stolen.
Yes.
So if you can, for those that do have good credit, we absolutely encourage that you use a credit card instead of a debit card, because you are protecting your account in that way.
Yeah.
Try not to use your debit card in places that are at risk of skimming devices, like for example
Like
the
a
gas
gas
pump.
station, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Buying online like Facebook,
Ooh,
TikTok.
that's a good
A lot
one.
of people make
Yes.
fake business pages on those social media platforms, and then they get all your debit card information. And
Right.
unfortunately, some people have a bad habit of keeping a good amount of money in their savings account. I'm talking about more than 10,000, more than 15,000. And for those of us that have smaller bank accounts, even keeping more than $500 in your bank account doesn't make sense, because you have to think about it like you have to look at your bank account like your pocket, right? You wouldn't walk around
No.
your every
Stack of
single
money.
day
No.
with $1,500 in
Right.
your
Right.
pocket just cause
Right,
you know
right.
you don't have those kind of emergencies every day. That's not realistic.
Right.
So that's why you have a savings account.
Okay.
And also you're budgeting, right? Because you're paying your bills, right? And you also have your personal expenses separate. So you're covering yourself in more ways than one without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Just understanding the basics.
Yeah,
Just
and is it-
understanding that that's out there, whether that applies to you or not. Great, but it's not the norm for people to lock their
Yeah.
credit for your direct deposit. I've already saved this amount of money. Let me move it to my savings. Let me go and ask the bank, is there a different vehicle? Can I do a certificate of deposit? Can I earn more interest? We need to be more familiarized with the institutions we bank with,
Yeah.
and really ask them, how can I grow? What can I do? We need to get more comfortable with that conversation.
Yeah. And is that something that you guys do? If
Oh,
I went into
absolutely.
your bank and I sat down and said, "Hey, I need help. Could you explain this to me?"
Absolutely.
I find that.
Every day.
That's what I do.
Oh, so that's what Nina does.
Yes,
That's
that's
why I
what
like
you-
Nina.
I'm the
I mean,
girl
I
you
like
come
you too.
to.
With this, yes.
Yep.
Nina's gonna help me with my money.
Yep. I think people are just concerned with, I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to wait in line and I'm going to be, in line and I'm going to be having these conversations
Yeah.
in front of people. It's embarrassing. We have, phone appointments, video appointments, in-person appointments. You can schedule online. You don't ever have to leave your home. We can make referrals to non-for-profits for when we feel like this is too much. Lifespan or ABC or, consumer credit counseling. We do that all the time. Pat Stone, where we ourselves can't do too much, but we can move you to a non-for-profit that is tasked. That is the purpose, to assist you in that area that you need. And people need to know, of course, they're going to hear it today, but going to your financial institution, asking, okay, you can't help me.
Right.
Can you refer me to someone that can, please? Advocating for yourself.
Okay. Now let me ask you: if I do have, let's say, I don't know, $10,000 in the bank, does the bank loan that money out, and do I make anything off of those loans?
Ooh, you're getting technical here.
I want to know what they're doing with my money.
Is
I do.
yes and no. So technically, that's how.
Is that what happens?
That's what happens.
Okay.
When we get the funds in.
Yeah,
That
talk
is
about it.
funds out. The banks does use to finance out and lend out. You make money on your own account.
Not on the money that you guys just
Well,
loaned out.
depending on the type of account that you have.
Okay.
Usually savings accounts are really bare minimum. But a lot of institutions have tiers of deposits.
Okay.
Again, most people start with a college account,
Yeah.
very little money, they're managing here and there. They never come back. Now they've graduated from school, they're making some good money, they've switched employers, they made a good income, and the account is still the same, non-interest bearing. They're not opening a second account, they don't have CDs, they're not investing in their retirement account.
By the way, a CD, a certificate of deposit, is in most cases a short-term savings account.
Okay.
So it's locked. You can't take money out of it during the amount of time that you chose to have it.
You shouldn't.
But you do earn interest.
Right.
It's secure. There's no loss to the customer at all. And it's a good holding for someone that
Right.
maybe wants to save money and doesn't want to have the ability to touch it.
Okay. Are there other ways in which I could have my money make me some money while it's in the bank?
Yeah, I mean, we also have our financial advisors that you can sit with if you're thinking about doing investments, or maybe if you want to do like a whole life insurance policy. You don't immediately get access to cash, but most policies, with after a certain amount of time, you are able to get cash access, a cash benefit access. So really, what that means is that that money that you're paying every single month for your whole life insurance policy, that company is going to put it into stocks. They're going to invest it. They're going to make that money grow. And then at some point, if you have a life emergency and you want to get access to that cash benefit, you can ask that company for a withdrawal.
Okay.
So some people do that if they have like a really hard time in their life, and maybe something bad happens where they need emergency funds. They can reach out to their whole life insurance policy because they have that cash benefit.
Gotcha.
Or if you have a CD, or if you have a 401k or a pension, it's great to have options of where is my money, how spread out is my money.
Yeah.
Everyone should have an emergency fund
Sure.
for a rainy day, or not so rainy day, or a fun
Right,
day.
right.
But
401k.
knowing how to do that, knowing how do I empower myself with financial freedom?
Now, you mentioned 401k, and I want to get back to talking about that subject in
Yes.
just a second. But before we do, I want to ask you about the life insurance policy. Is that done through the bank, or is that done through an insurance agency, or both?
Well, both really, because we work with the Wilmington advisors.
Okay.
So they work at our bank with M&T. So there are financial advisors, but the policies themselves go through third parties.
Which would be the insurance company.
Yes.
Whatever insurance policy you go
Okay.
with, yes.
Okay.
Just like with any partner, so we have our retail branch personnel branches, and then we have partners. I would be considered a partner because of what I do. I do mortgages, and then these individuals are licensed. So this, we're all licensed to be able to do that. So they're the ones that handle the heavy conversations, the topic, the ins and out.
Gotcha.
Every single person, like our goal is every single person that is a client should be having a full service conversation about what is offered. Whether it is that you feel like you're not insurable,
Right.
who told you no? You told yourself no. Whether it is, if you, most people say that, tell themselves no. Or
Yeah.
if you move from company to company, there's people usually think that Rochester is huge in manufacturing. Aquí it's
Bastante.
huge.
Yes.
In every corner there's a manufacturing company for something, making something. They're starting to get better with benefits.
Okay.
But people gradually move from one place to the other. What happens to those funds that you left behind?
Yes.
Usually when I have a consultation with a client, that's one thing I look at. I look for that 401k. I look for that pension.
Yeah.
And I ask, where is it? You're contributing, are they matching? It's not specific conversation. It's a value add that I feel like we can contribute to the client because they need it. They don't know that there's power in saving for a rainy day.
Right,
Or maybe they'll have credit all their lives, but guess what? You don't have to get a terrible car loan because you have funds in retirement that maybe you could borrow against.
Absolutely.
I actually don't always advise that, but
Right.
if it's your only resort, then
Yeah.
of course
Sure, sure.
it's there to be used.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't use it because ultimately it's for your retirement, right?
Right.
But if you have, it's a way to get access to cash without having to run your credit, without basically having to ask somebody, can you give me the money right now?
Right.
It's your own financial planning that got you to be able to access those funds.
Okay.
And the idea is to set yourself up for that financial success, for those emergency funds, not to have to go running to a bank and ask them if they can give you that loan, right?
Can you take out a loan against the 401k?
Yes.
And would that be a better route to go if you want to make a big purchase?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend going into your 401k. You don't want to touch that if you really don't have to. You don't want to touch it.
Right.
But if you have to, I mean, I'm sure that their rates will probably be better
I
than.
think you should call your your plan servicer.
Right.
Yeah,
So with
that's-
every employer, there is a servicer or a company
Yes.
that's
Right.
managing that for the company. You should call and ask for worst case scenario tough questions.
Yeah.
How is this going to hurt me? How much money am I going to end up losing? What is the terms? What does it look like? And maybe the answer, you're like, this is not something I want to do.
Yes.
I want to leave my retirement alone. Maybe if you're in your 50s and 60s, later in life, that's not something you want to do. You don't want to withdrawals. But again, understanding that this could be a possibility for you.
Right.
Just knowing that you can. Should you want to, that's another conversation.
So I asked the question because if I do decide, let's say, to take a loan out on my 401, I'm paying the loan actually back to myself. And so is there any interest in that? And if there is interest, does it go back to me?
You should contact your plan servicer. So they just like any company, I mean, any for-profit company, they're there to make money.
Yeah.
So it
and
will
everybody
vary
works
from-
different.
Yes, it
Every
will vary.
company is different.
This is where people should take matters into their own hands and educate themselves.
Right.
Ay, es que tengo que llamar, tengo que esperar, que no hablan español, todas las excusas del mundo.
Yeah.
Pero ese es tu dinero. Ese es tu dinero y es tu crédito. Tú has trabajado para él.
Yes, yes.
Take care of it.
Yes,
Tienes que
absolutely.
cuidarlo.
And when you're making a big purchase like that, it's a huge decision. And you got to be
Absolutely.
careful with what you're doing.
Right.
What are some of the biggest myths that you hear people talk about that just aren't true when it comes to a bank?
Oh, I hear all the time that if you have your bank account and you never let it go into the negative, that positively impacts your credit.
Not true?
That's not true.
Not true. That's a good one, though.
It hurts your credit
Uh-huh.
if it goes into the negative. They close
Yes.
it out because they
Right.
charged off. That it hurts your credit, but
Yes.
it does not help your credit to have an open bank account with a positive balance.
Yeah, that's definitely not accurate. I think there's a lot of distrust historically, of course. Depending on the community that you ask, historically, there's a lot of distrust, rightfully so, because there are certain regulations that have not been favorable for people with lower income. But if I feel like every year there's different laws and different changes to the financial industry, and people don't find out about it. They just know that they had a horrible experience 10 years ago, and I had $300 in insufficient funds fee, and there's always this happened to me, this happened. It's never really accountability of why it happened, and really how you were managing your account at that moment, and really not knowing. All you had is a checking account. All you had is a savings account. So I think the distrust in financial institutions is definitely a myth. Like, we're going to take your money, we're going to take all your fees.
Right.
With all the heavy regulations, it's pretty difficult to do that now. I'm not saying it's not impossible and it doesn't happen, but I think part of you knowing, like, your local branch, knowing your banker, knowing about the history of where you're banking, it's huge. We get to know you, and then you get to know us.
Absolutely. And it's important to develop a nice relationship like that with your bank. If I need help, I can stop by and see Nina or yourself, and you guys can help me.
Absolutely.
It's great. It's a great relationship to build. Absolutely.
Ejemplo, no me van a aprobar, no voy a aplicar para el crédito porque no me van a aprobar. O no quiero seguro de vida porque no me lo van a aprobar, o tengo diabetes, o you see that all the time. Or tengo que tener $50,000, $100,000 para invertir dinero. No. I mean, depending on where you go.
Yes.
You could start with 5,000, you could start with 10,000, you could start with what you have.
Yes.
But the most important thing is, if you have doubt about what this looks like, go to the source and ask the questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here. We look forward to our next episode where we'll sit down and talk more about banking. If you're listening or watching and you walked away with something of value from this show, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those as well. We'd love to see them, and we'll read them on the air in our next episode. So we'll see you guys then right here on El Poder Latino. Thank you guys.
Thank you.